and welcome to the Field Report. We're going to extend it out. We're going to listen to some very provocative video, and I will be able to at least let you see some of the clip, and then you can obviously follow the rest of it. I did post it to the Field Report, so you should be able to view it in its entirety. I did want to say this, okay, and I got to bring some personal thoughts to this because this is a very provocative topic, and I know that some people can take a lot away from these videos, but if you want to listen to more in-depth videos regarding this topic of the Holocaust, I also posted at the Third Watch update at Facebook, so you have to go to your Facebook search bar and just go Third Watch update in all caps, because I just can't overwhelm this page any more than I already have. So, and I apologize. There's been a lot of information between Jade Helm and what is happening there, and then what has happened in Nazi Germany. Also, the Japanese internment camps that occurred during the time of World War II. There seemed to be a lot of this that happened in World War II because of this topic, and then Jade Helm. I'm going to tell you there's just all kinds of similarities in this, but I'll take this. In 2004, I met an Auschwitz survivor, and she literally walked up to me. I didn't know who she was, just walking up the street. And I was just watching this protest go on between the anti-war crowd, and this was at, George W. Bush was having a meeting with one of our senators at the time, and there was a big announcement there, and I believe they were at a convention of some kind, but I went down, and it was downtown Pittsburgh at the time, so when I went down, I was watching just kind of the whole thing happen, just the crowd, and that was making a lot of news at that time during the campaign election in 2004, so I gone down there, saw the just like the anti-Bush crowd out there, and I was just kind of following the whole news topic that back then. I didn't really see anything like that, so I went down there because I really hadn't seen anything like it until I really went down there myself. And when I met the Auschwitz survivor, that's really strange that I just kind of put it out there, but I didn't even really know who she was. I knew she had an accent because, just from her greeting herself the way she did, she just came right up to me, and I just feel so honored and blessed that, I don't know a lot of her personal information. She just started telling me her story, and when I was 16, I told this story that I was doing a report, and so the first time I ever did anything that was regarding the Holocaust, much less, they wouldn't even teach us that in history class. But when I was doing a report, that was one of the topics we could research. When I came across it, I looked around the library and I thought, does anybody know that this happened? And being 15, 16 years old and doing a report like this, I personalized it very much. I felt like I was one of them, as I was going through images and pictures of bodies. And when I met the Auschwitz survivor, she put so much to ease, comforted me in so many ways. I mean, here she is surviving all this stuff that she had lived through, and she was comforting me at the same time when she was with her speech and the way she communicated, and just the joy I had to share that time with her. So we stood at the corner, and she would just unravel the story that happened to her. I couldn't believe it. I think I glanced away from her at one point and realized that it was over an hour, and the whole world stopped. My whole world stopped when I was listening to her. And, I want to make this so personal. I know what it feels like to go and be separated in a courtroom with a judge and watch the caseworkers separate me and my brothers and sisters and send two off immediately to the foster care right after the court hearing. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to walk out of that courtroom and not know where you're going to go. You know that you're going to go to a foster home and you don't know anybody there. But this isn't like that. But in these concentration camps, they separated the kids from the parents under the worst conditions you could possibly imagine, not knowing you may never see your kids again. And in this case, they didn't. A lot of times what you hear in these stories, you're going to hear what happened to some of these families. And there were just so many, numerous, hundreds of families separated all at one time. So without really making this a personal matter, it hits on some areas that I'm sure that you may relate to in some area of your life. How can you not personalize? It's a human tragedy what happened. The greatest hope we have is people like this who live to share the story, and I'm not going to eat up more time. I think you need to hear it from themselves. Listen to the full audio and video at the page, and because I'll just have to shut it off at one point. Let's go there.
3 years under Soviet communist occupation. In 1938, the media reported that Hitler rolled into Austria with tanks and guns and took us over. Not true at all. The Austrian people elected Hitler by 98% of the vote by means of the ballot box. Now, you might ask, how could a Christian nation, almost 100% Catholic, to elect a monster like Hitler? The truth is, at the beginning, Hitler didn't look like or talk like a monster at all. He talked like an American politician. In 1938, Austria was in a very deep depression. We had 1/3 of our workforce unemployed. We had 25% inflation, and if you would borrow money from the bank, you paid 25% interest. It was not unusual that my mother would feed on the average 30 people a day, a bowl of soup and a slice of bread. People would come knocking on the door. They wanted to work. There were no jobs. The depression was so bad that we had riots in the streets. There were two political factions fighting each other. Communist Party was getting very powerful. So was the Nazi Party. Now, when I speak of the Nazi Party, the Nazi Party, what we are going to be in our country, the National Socialist Party. I translate Nationalsozialism. That's where the word Nazi needs elective surgery, not emergency. You waited 18 months for a hospital bed. So many doctors left the country, including my own husband. He would not want to practice medicine like his brother had to. And when he came to the United States, he marveled how wonderful our healthcare is, how wonderful our research is, and how wonderful our hospitals, how modern they were. He said, I hope it never will end up in socialized medicine. Also, we had many government agencies, the bureaucrats. The bureaucrats were writing all the rules and all the regulation. That's socialism. The unelected bureaucrats, and a lot of it applied to the farmers. The bureaucrats would go out on the farm
Okay, so I did post that link to my Facebook page so you could get a chance to watch it in its entirety. It's worth watching. Signing off here for the Field Report.